everyone, Brittany here, your favorite COO. I just want to go ahead and introduce real quick our series on the retiree. We are going to be going over in this episode 8 the topic of Social Security. So Brandon is going to be our Social Security expert. He has been known in our building for years on being an expert on this topic. So I just want to encourage you, stick around until the end for a chance to win some sweet FSG gear and enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, Kyle and Brandon here. We are here to expand upon the retiree series that we're working on. And today we're going to talk about Social Security. And I'm really excited. For any of you guys out there that know us, you know that Brandon is the most analytical person in the office. And he is our resident Social Security expert because he loves it.
I think that makes me the resident nerd as well. So yeah.
Resident nerd as well. So obviously, you know, Social Security is a big topic for everyone out there. And why is it such a big topic?
I think it's a huge topic because it affects just about everybody who is retiring. I mean, almost everybody who retires is going to get Social Security benefits, and there's ways to maximize it, and there's ways to make bad decisions and not maximize it.
So talk to me a little bit about, okay, you know, Social Security affects everybody.
Yeah.
What are the different ways that I can take Social Security?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Before I jump into that, I guess I should have addressed this earlier. Is the other reason I think it's such a big topic is because in the news, in the media, and politicians are always talking about concerns around Social Security, it being underfunded, all of these things. So the first thing I would say is for you, if you're close to receiving benefits, you know, as early as 62 years old, you can take benefits. I wouldn't worry too much. Or if you're already receiving benefits, I wouldn't worry too much about having a big cut. Maybe they water it down a little bit. Maybe you see a little cut, but frankly, it's political suicide for politicians to cut Social Security benefits for those who are already receiving or close to receiving it. And politicians like their jobs way too much. So I just don't see that happening. But for guys like us, the younger generations, I think you need to plan on it being at least watered down pretty significantly. And maybe just plan on it not being there. And if it is there, it's icing on the cake.
Yeah, a little extra fun money for the vacation.
Sure. Yeah.
So the ways we can take Social Security.
Yes.
You just mentioned we can take it as early as 62.
Yep.
And then we can delay it as late as 70, right?
Delay it as late as 70. Early as 62 for retirement benefits. Early as 62, as late as 70. And then you also need to determine what your full retirement age benefit is. So depending on what year you were born, your full retirement age benefit will vary between 65 and 67 years old.
Sure.
And you can give it a quick Google and it'll show you, there's graphs out there that will show you at what age your full retirement benefit is.
Or you can actually go to the Social Security website and sign up.
Log in and
it'll actually show you your benefit at the different age bracket.
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
So what are the benefits? I mean, realistically, as me as an individual or our viewers out there,
right.
You know, what are the considerations? Do I take it early at 62 or do I delay it to 70? I mean, how does that work? Right?
Yeah, so the longer you delay benefits, the higher your benefit will be for life. So for every month beyond 62 that you delay your benefit, you actually get a little bit of an increase. It's done monthly until the point of the maximum benefit, which would be at age 70. And it's about 8% a year it averages. So it's done on a monthly basis, it increases, but it averages out to be about, not quite, but about 8% a year. Every year you delay receiving your benefits.
Hi everyone, I want to interrupt this YouTube episode real quick for a trivia question. This week's trivia question is, which president implemented the Social Security Act? Was it A, Dwight D. Eisenhower, B, Harry S. Truman, C, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or D, Herbert Hoover? Make sure to stay tuned and we'll give you your answer soon.
So I like to play devil's advocate. So, you know, if everybody's looking at this, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to delay till 70.
Right.
Right? Because that's when I'm going to get the max benefit. But that's not always the case, right?
Sure.
We sit down with individuals, we have these conversations. You know, what are some of the big things that we talk about with clients when they give Social Security consideration when they're going to take it?
Yeah, so the first thing is most people actually take it as soon as they can, right? Either it's 62 or right when they retire, and that's not necessarily the best thing to do either. So you have to look at a few different factors, the first of which would be, do I need money, right? That might not be, I guess it's not much of a decision at that point, but do I need money? The second decision would be, are you still working? If you're still working and you're under full retirement age, again, that's that 65 to 67, depending on what year you were born, not only do you take a reduced amount, not only can you be taxed on those benefits, you also can be penalized on those benefits if you make, it's about $14,000 a year. So if you make too much money through your job and you're under full retirement age, you can get hit in 3 different ways. So you have to be really careful.
Conscious.
From that standpoint of, if you don't need the money and you're still working, I would really encourage you just to wait until you're full retirement age, at least to take it.
Sure.
The other consideration, I think it's the most overlooked, is life expectancy. So the way I like to describe this is, if you wait till age 70 to take your benefit, you're going to get the highest benefit, right? You get the most monthly income, right? But what happens if you delayed it till age 70 and you pass away at age 72, right? You only got 2 years of that higher benefit. But if you had taken it at 62, you would have gotten 10 years of a smaller benefit. It would have made sense to take it at 62. So the opposite is true, though. If you've got great longevity in your family, your grandparents and your parents lived into their 90s and you're in great health and all these different things, and you expect to live into your 90s, getting that higher payment for 20 or 25 years more than makes up for the fact that you missed out on a few years in the beginning.
Of course.
So that's a huge factor.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, it is time again for me to interrupt this episode and give you the answer to this week's trivia question. The trivia question for this week was, which president implemented the Social Security Act? Was it A, Dwight D. Eisenhower, B, Harry S. Truman, C, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or D, Herbert Hoover? The answer is, in fact, Franklin D. Roosevelt, who implemented the Social Security Act on August 14th, 1935. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of our episode for a chance to win some FSG gear.
So really some key points, the need, right? And then health, that's a consideration.
Correct, yeah.
And then there's benefits for spouses, too, that we need to consider.
Spousal benefits, yeah. It gets pretty complicated with spousal benefits. We'll give you kind of an overview. But in general, a spouse can be entitled to an amount up to half of what their spouse is receiving without reducing what their spouse receives. I'm not going to go too much into that, but the biggest thing today to consider with that is what happens if you have 2 spouses and one of them passes away. Let's say they both have Social Security benefits. The surviving spouse gets the higher of the 2 benefits, but not both. And so they're going to have a cut in benefits. The other important thing is, we talked about longevity and life expectancy, is because that higher benefit is the benefit that's going to live on. It's going to live on as long as either one of those spouses is living.
Sure.
That means that's a longer life expectancy. And so if anybody's going to delay the benefit, it should be the person who has the higher benefit.
Yep. So that, as we look at this as a whole, it kind of seems pretty complicated, right?
It can be very complicated.
Very complicated. Yeah. Then you have individuals that, they come and see us. Oftentimes, how do you mesh that with everything else that you have going on?
Yeah, there's no real good way to mesh it unless you have a good financial planning software. Because once you factor in that you have opportunity costs, so if you choose to delay receiving Social Security, that may force you to take more out of your investments, and those additional amounts you took out of your investments are no longer earning interest. And then we take into consideration inflation.
Sure.
And all these different, it can get really complicated. The best way to do it is just to get your specific information into a good financial planning software.
Which we have.
And run simulations, run what ifs, and you can see break-even ages of when, how long it's going to take you to make up for the fact that you missed those years in the beginning and those types of things. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
So as you can see, this is could be very complex subject for many individuals out there. So, I hope that was good information, some very broad strokes. Head to our website. We have some articles on Social Security. We have some things that we always try to put out there. But realistically, come see us.
Yeah. Shoot us a question, send us an email, or respond to our questionnaire on our website. We'd love to hear from you and hear your feedback.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks everyone. We appreciate the time today. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks.
Okay, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed that episode of FSG Financial TV. Be sure to send us an email at contact@fsgmichigan.net or give us a call at 800-804-0420 to meet with one of our advisors and go through your specific situation. Also, make sure to send us an email and let us know what your favorite takeaway from this episode was, and you'll enter into a chance to win some FSG gear. Thank you, and tune in next time.